When was the last time you truly felt awake? Not just physically, but deeply alive, present, connected to something bigger than your to-do list or your notifications. We live in a world that keeps us busy, but rarely fulfilled. We move fast, but often feel stuck. And for many women, life starts to feel like a series of demands. Roles to play, standards to meet, boxes to check. Somewhere along the way, it becomes easy to forget that you have the power to choose who you become every single day. But here's the truth no one tells you. Your life is not shaped by what you do once in a while. It's shaped by what you do daily, quietly, repeatedly, when no one's watching. Because while the world praises results, what really changes your life are the habits that build them. There's a version of you you haven't met yet. She's stronger, wiser, calmer. She doesn't break under pressure, she rises through it. She doesn't chase validation, she radiates it. And she doesn't wait for permission, she creates her path. That version of you isn't found by accident. She's built day by day, habit by habit, and every day you wake up, you're either feeding her or forgetting her. Most people don't realize how powerful one ordinary day can be. They think transformation is loud, dramatic, obvious. It's not. Real change is subtle, quiet. It begins when you decide you're done being a passenger in your own story. When you stop living on autopilot and start designing a life that actually feels like yours. Think about it. How many mornings have you opened your eyes already tired, already behind, already dreading the day ahead? That's not life. That's survival. And you were not born just to survive. You were born to build, to become, to lead, starting with yourself. And here's what most people miss. Small habits, repeated with intention, have unreal power. Neuroscience shows us that your brain wires itself around what you do regularly. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, strength over excuses, truth over comfort, you carve a new path. You rewire the story of who you are. That's not motivation, that's biology. But it goes deeper than science. This is about identity. Every habit is a vote for the woman you believe yourself to be. When you choose to rise early, you're casting a vote for clarity. When you choose to speak kindly to yourself, you're voting for confidence. When you say no to what drains you, you're voting for self-worth. The more votes you cast, the more certain that identity becomes, not just in your mind, but in your being. And yes, it's hard, it's meant to be, because anything that truly changes you will cost you. It will cost you your excuses, your comfort, your patterns. But what you gain in return is everything. You gain alignment, you gain power, you gain a life that feels like yours again, the most beautiful part. You don't need to wait. You don't need more time. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need one decision that starting today, you refuse to keep living below your potential. That you're done watching other people rise while you shrink. Or that you're ready to remember who you are and what you're capable of. Because deep down, you already know. You've felt the fire, even if it's been dimmed by doubt or buried under responsibility. You've heard the whisper that says, there's more for you. And you've seen glimpses of her, the woman you could be, strong, clear, disciplined, free. This isn't just about habits, it's about freedom. Because the more you master your day, the less your day masters you. And when a woman becomes intentional about how she lives, she becomes unshakable. She doesn't just survive the chaos, she transforms in it. She doesn't wait for change, she is the change. So if you've been craving more, if you've been feeling stuck in cycles that drain you, if something inside you is begging for a new chapter, this is your moment. Stay with it. Because by the end of this journey, you won't just know the habits that change lives, you'll feel them. And once you feel that shift, even just a little, you'll never settle for less again. And once you decide to stop settling, everything changes. You begin to see your day not as a routine to survive, but as a canvas to create. Every moment becomes a choice. Every choice becomes a step. And those steps, when taken with intention, lead you somewhere that autopilot never could. It starts from the moment you open your eyes, before the world demands your attention, before the noise begins. In that quiet space between sleep and wakefulness, you are given a gift, the chance to choose how you begin. Most people waste it. They grab their phone, they scroll through other people's lives. They let outside energy dictate their inner state. But not you, not anymore. When you wake before the world does, you reclaim your power. There is something sacred about those early hours, the stillness, the silence, the space to hear your own thoughts before they're drowned out by the world's demands. This is where clarity is born. This is where resilience is trained. Because the way you begin your day is the way you shape your identity. If you begin it with discipline, you carry discipline. If you begin it with peace, you carry peace. If you begin it with chaos, distraction, and stress, don't be surprised when your entire day mirrors it back. The mind is most open right after waking. What you feed it in those first few minutes sets the tone for everything that follows. Are you feeding it doubt, noise, and comparison? Or are you feeding it intention, focus, and belief? This isn't just personal development theory. This is neuroscience. Your brain operates on theta and alpha waves when you wake up. This is prime time for planting seeds. Seeds of self-worth, seeds of clarity, seeds of momentum. When a woman chooses to wake up before the world, she's not just being productive, she's stepping into leadership of herself. She's saying, my life matters enough to be lived on purpose. And that kind of energy, it spreads. It shows up in how she walks, how she speaks, how she holds boundaries, how she commands respect without needing to ask for it. This habit, waking early, isn't about being perfect. It's about creating space. Space to breathe before the noise. Space to plan before the pressure. Space to remember who you are before the world tells you who to be. And yes, it's hard at first. Your bed will feel warm. Your excuses will feel convincing. But in that moment of resistance, something powerful is happening. You're not just fighting tiredness, you're fighting old patterns. Patterns that kept you playing small. Patterns that whispered, maybe tomorrow. But you don't live in maybe anymore. You live in now. Every time you choose to rise early, you train your mind to serve you, not sabotage you. You build trust with yourself. You build evidence that you follow through. And that trust, that evidence, it becomes the foundation for everything else. You don't need motivation when you have proof that you keep your word to yourself. And let's be honest, most of the world is reacting. Reacting to stress, to emails, to messages, to moods. But not the woman who owns her mornings. Or she's already grounded, already clear, already focused. She's not reacting, she's creating. That's the edge. That's the shift that separates women who rise from women who remain stuck. Because this habit isn't just about mornings. It's about mastering momentum. You win your morning, you win your day, and when you start stacking days like that, you become unstoppable. You stop waiting for confidence. You become confidence. You stop hoping for energy. You generate it. You stop needing motivation. You build it. Day by day, step by step, breath by breath. And no one will hand you this power. You have to take it. You have to fight for it in the quiet hours when it's just you, the clock, and a decision. Do I stay comfortable or do I rise? Rise. Because the woman you're becoming doesn't live in comfort. She lives in commitment. She lives in courage. She lives in the habits no one sees, but everyone feels when she walks into a room. Let others hit snooze on their potential. Let others scroll through life in search of something they can only build. You've woken up to the truth. That every day you rise with purpose, you become the kind of woman who doesn't chase success. She embodies it. And when you do that, when you take those quiet moments and turn them into a ritual of power, something shifts. You don't just start your day, you command it. You don't just show up, you own the space you walk into. And you don't just hope for a better life, you build it. One morning at a time. Keep going. You're not becoming someone new, you're remembering who you were always meant to be. When you begin your day with power, you create a ripple that touches everything else. But what happens next, what you allow to echo in your mind, matters just as much. Because the world outside will always be noisy, judgmental, demanding. The real battle isn't out there. It's the conversation you have with yourself when no one's listening. That voice, the one inside your head, it's either your greatest weapon or your worst enemy. And for far too many women, it's turned into a constant critic. It questions your worth. It magnifies your flaws. It whispers doubts even in your highest moments. But here's the truth that changes everything. You are not the voice. You are the one hearing it. And the moment you choose to speak back, to lead it instead of letting it lead you, you take your power back. Most women have spent years repeating silent scripts they never chose. Words absorbed from childhood, from culture, from criticism. You're too much, you're not enough, you don't have what it takes. These beliefs take root quietly. They show up in hesitation, in overthinking, in that sinking feeling that maybe success is meant for someone else. But belief isn't truth. Belief is habit. And just like any habit, it can be unlearned, rewritten, replaced. You don't need louder affirmations. You need honest alignment. Words that pierce through the lies you've believed for too long and remind you of what's always been true, that you are worthy, that you are capable, that you don't need fixing, you need unfolding. How you speak to yourself in the moments that matter, the moments of doubt, of failure, of fatigue, defines the life you lead. Because self-talk is not just language, it's programming. It wires your nervous system, or it shapes your confidence. It determines how much of your potential you're willing to access. Think about it. If someone followed you around all day saying the things you say to yourself, would you still be standing? Would you still dare to dream? For too many, the answer is no. That stops here. Because a woman who masters her inner voice masters her reality. And that mastery begins with a choice. To speak to yourself like someone you love, not someone you pity, not someone you tolerate, someone you respect, someone you believe in. And no, this isn't about toxic positivity or pretending everything's okay when it's not. This is about choosing truth over trauma, strength over shame. It's about standing in front of the mirror, even when you feel broken, and refusing to call yourself anything less than powerful, because the world will try to define you by your past, by your pain, by your perceived limits. But you speak a new story. You declare the future you're building, not someday. Now, words carry energy. And when you shift the energy of your self-talk, you shift how you walk through the world. You stop apologizing for taking up space. You stop second-guessing your worth. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. Instead, you rise. You rise with compassion, with clarity, with conviction. You begin to treat your mind like sacred ground. You protect it. You nurture it. You fill it with thoughts that empower, not diminish. You catch the lies and correct them. You notice the doubt and answer it with truth. I'm not ready becomes I'm willing to begin. What if I fail becomes what if I rise? I don't know how becomes I'll learn. This is not pretending. This is reprogramming. You are not lying to yourself when you speak in strength. You are reminding yourself of what has always been buried beneath fear, your brilliance, and the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. At first, it feels awkward, forced. But over time, those new words take root. They begin to grow. They become your instinct. And suddenly, you're not waiting for confidence anymore. You're cultivating it. This is how you become unstoppable. Not by eliminating fear, but by refusing to agree with it. Not by avoiding failure, but by refusing to define yourself by it. Not by hoping someone else sees your worth, but by speaking it until you believe it down to your bones. So when the voice in your head tells you you're not ready, remember, that voice is a habit, not a truth. And you are the author now. You decide what story you live. And the story you choose to tell yourself will either cage you or set you free. Speak with intention. Speak with power. Speak as if every word is carving the woman you were born to be. Because it is. Every word you say to yourself is either armor or a weapon turned against your own soul. Choose armor. Choose courage. Choose the voice that builds you, not breaks you. You don't need to wait for someone to remind you of your power. You just needed this moment, right here, right now. Because now you know the most important conversation you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. Make it count. When your inner voice shifts, everything begins to align. But it doesn't stop there. Words shape belief, yes, but action cements identity. You can speak strength into your mind, but you must also move your body in a way that proves it. Because confidence isn't just felt, it's embodied. And your body listens to how you treat it. This isn't about a number on a scale. This isn't about fitting into someone else's standard of beauty. This is about the message you send to yourself every single day through movement. When you choose to move, you're choosing to honor the only vessel you will ever have. You're saying, I matter, my energy matters, my health is non-negotiable. Most people think discipline is punishment, but discipline is devotion. A daily reminder that you are worth effort, sweat, and time. It's a sacred form of self-respect. And in a world that constantly pulls you into passivity, movement becomes your rebellion. Your body was designed to move, not just for function, but for freedom. When you move with intention, you release stored stress. You shake off the heaviness of old emotions. You clear stagnant thoughts. You don't just shift your posture, you shift your state. And when your state changes, so does your mindset. That is power. Too many women have been taught to disconnect from their bodies, to criticize them, to punish them, to hide them. But your body is not your enemy, it's your partner. And when you move it with purpose, you awaken something deeper than muscle. You awaken presence. You come home to yourself. It doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't need to be perfect. What matters is consistency. It's showing up when you don't feel like it. It's walking when your mind says lie down. It's stretching when life feels tight. It's pushing when every excuse is louder than your motivation. Because something powerful happens when you follow through. You start building evidence that you're reliable, that you finish what you start, that you're not someone who backs down when things get hard. And that evidence becomes identity. It becomes the quiet knowing that says, I've done hard things before, I can do this too. And that knowing doesn't stay in the gym or on the yoga mat. It shows up in your work, your relationships, your voice, your dreams. You stop waiting to feel powerful. You start living like you already are. Movement creates momentum, and momentum destroys hesitation. When you feel stuck in your mind, get into your body. The quickest way to silence self-doubt is to move through it, to sweat through it, to breathe through it. And on the other side, you find clarity, strength, and peace. You were never meant to feel numb. You were never meant to feel drained and disconnected from your own being. You were meant to feel alive, fully, wildly alive. And when you move like you respect your body, something changes in how you carry yourself. Your head lifts, your shoulders relax, your voice sharpens, you become more grounded, more assertive, more resilient. Because the woman who chooses to move on purpose is the woman who refuses to abandon herself. Even when life gets busy, even when no one's watching, especially then. Because that's when it counts the most, not when it's easy, but when it would be easier not to. Those moments test your standard, and your standard shapes your reality. Your body is not a project to fix. It's a gift to care for, a mirror of how deeply you value your time, your presence, your potential. And when you choose to honor it, it responds, it wakes up, it energizes, it begins to trust you again, and you begin to trust yourself again. This is more than a habit. It's a declaration, a physical reminder every single day that you are here to rise, not shrink, that you are here to lead, not follow, that you are here to live, not just exist. So move like the woman you are becoming. Move like you're building strength, not burning calories. Move like your future depends on it, because it does, and let every drop of effort remind you, you don't just have power, you are power. You're not waiting to feel it. You're creating it. One breath, one rep, one step at a time. Keep going, keep rising. Because the world doesn't need a perfect body. It needs women who walk in full alignment, who own their presence, who stand tall, grounded in the truth that their body is not a limitation. It's a weapon of purpose. And every time you move with that intention, you sharpen it, you activate it, you become it. Not someday, not when it's convenient. Now, a woman who honors her body naturally begins to honor everything she puts into it. Because once you start moving with purpose, you start feeling the difference between what fuels you and what drains you. Your body becomes more than just a reflection in the mirror. It becomes a messenger. And when you listen, it tells you everything you need to know. Food is not just something you consume. It's a decision you make 3 times a day or more about what you deserve. It's not about control, it's about connection to how you want to feel, to the energy you want to carry, to the future you're building. Because every bite is a message. I choose vitality. I choose focus. I choose discipline. Or I choose distraction. I choose escape. I choose to numb. This isn't about guilt. It's about awareness. When you eat with intention, you're not just fueling your body, you're casting a vote for who you're becoming. And when you choose what nourishes you over what sedates you, you're saying to yourself, I am worth showing up for. We've been sold a lie that eating well is a punishment, a burden, a chore. But that belief was never yours. It was given to you. You were told that food is either a reward or a weapon, that you must earn it, that you should fear it. But you were never meant to fight your body, you were meant to feed it. Because energy is not random, it is built. And the woman who fuels herself with clarity creates clarity. The one who eats for strength creates strength. You don't rise by accident. You rise by how you treat the small, seemingly invisible choices that add up to massive results. Think about it. Your brain, your focus, your memory, your decisions, they all run on the fuel you give them. Your emotional stability, your hormonal balance, your sleep, your drive, your confidence, they're not detached from what you put into your body. Food is chemistry. And when you get the chemistry right, everything begins to align. But this is deeper than nutrition. This is about self-trust, because the way you feed yourself is a mirror of your standards. Do you eat to survive another day or to thrive through it? Do you eat because you're bored or because you're building something worth showing up for? When you raise your standards for what goes into your body, you raise your standards for what you allow into your mind, your relationships, your entire life. Let's be real, your future is built on energy, and your energy is built on what you consume, not just food, but thoughts, habits, information, people. The woman who becomes unstoppable is the one who is selective about her input, because she knows that input creates output. What you feed yourself determines what you can give to the world. This is why the most powerful women are not always the loudest or the strongest. They are the ones who are disciplined in the smallest, most private choices, when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when they could slip back into old patterns and no one would even notice. But they would notice. And that's enough. So ask yourself, what are you choosing? Not once in a while, not when it's easy, but daily, quietly, consistently. Because those choices compound. They create momentum or they destroy it. They nourish your mission or they sabotage it. And you are the only one who gets to decide. This isn't about eating perfectly. It's about eating consciously. It's about knowing that every time you sit down to feed your body, you are also feeding your mindset, your resilience, your ability to show up when life gets heavy. That's not a diet, that's power. And power doesn't come from rules. It comes from alignment. It comes from saying, this is the life I want, and this is how I support it. It comes from being honest enough to admit that the way you've been feeding yourself isn't about hunger, it's about avoidance. And then choosing differently. You are not weak for craving comfort. You are human. But comfort cannot be your strategy anymore. You weren't born to numb. You were born to rise, and rising requires energy, clarity, strength, all of which begin with what you choose to put on your plate. So feed yourself like a woman on a mission. Feed yourself like someone who respects her future, not because of shame, but because of standards. Not because you hate your body, but because you've decided to protect your power. Because that's what this is all about, protection of your energy, your vision, your legacy. You're not just eating for today. You're eating for the woman who's going to walk through rooms with authority, the one who's going to build things that outlive her, the one who refuses to burn out chasing things that were never meant to define her. Let every bite be a reminder, I choose strength. I choose clarity. I choose to show up for my life fully, completely, unapologetically. And that choice, repeated with intention, it will transform everything. When you start feeding your body like your future depends on it, a new level of clarity emerges. You begin to see life differently. Time no longer feels like something that slips away. It becomes something you command. And the woman who learns to command her time does not live in chaos. She lives in creation. Time is your most valuable currency. It cannot be paused. It cannot be borrowed. Every second you give away without intention is a piece of your future you'll never get back. That's not meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you. Because while others are busy being busy, you are here to be deliberate. Owning your time is not about cramming more into your day. It's about becoming ruthless with what no longer deserves access to you. It's about realizing that distractions aren't just harmless. They're thieves. Thieves of focus. Thieves of purpose. Thieves of becoming. And the truth is, most people don't need more hours. They need stronger boundaries. They need to stop giving unlimited access to people and habits that drain them. They need to stop saying yes out of guilt and no out of fear, because every yes you offer comes at a cost. And if you're not careful, you'll spend your life investing in everything except yourself. But not you. You're awake now. You understand that managing your time is more than a productivity hack. It's an act of self-respect. When you begin to treat your time like it matters, you teach the world how to treat you. You teach your goals that you're serious. You teach your life that you are done being passive. This is how women rise. They stop waiting for permission and start protecting their energy like it's sacred, because it is. They stop glorifying burnout and start measuring success by alignment. Because productivity without purpose is just noise. Movement without direction is just distraction dressed up as progress. You were not born to be busy, you were born to build. And building requires focus. It requires saying no to good things so you have space for greatness. It requires the courage to disappoint others in order to stay loyal to yourself. Your calendar reflects your priorities, whether you admit it or not. Every minute is a mirror. Look at how you're spending your days, because that's how you're spending your life. Are you pouring energy into things that elevate you? Or are you chasing approval from people who wouldn't even notice if you stopped showing up? The hard truth is this: if you don't plan your day, someone else will. If you don't guard your time, the world will consume it without apology. You'll wake up one day wondering where it all went, wondering how you got so far from the woman you were meant to become. But the beautiful truth is that you can take it back. One choice at a time, one boundary at a time, one moment of courage at a time. Start with clarity. Know what you're building, know what matters most, then let that vision become the filter for your time. If it's not aligned with the life you're creating, it doesn't get space in your day. Period. Stop negotiating with distractions. Stop giving energy to things that don't move the needle. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing focus. You don't need to justify your growth. Let your results speak louder than your excuses ever did. This is not about perfection. This is about ownership. This is about deciding that your life is too valuable to live by default, that your peace is too precious to keep sacrificing to urgency, that your dreams are too sacred to keep putting off until someday. Someday is a lie. There is only the moment you choose to take yourself seriously. And when you do, you begin to notice the difference between urgent and important, between noise and signal, between what feels good now and what creates something better later. And when you master that awareness, you become untouchable. You're no longer distracted by things that don't matter because you're too busy becoming someone who does. You walk with purpose. You choose with clarity. You live like your life is yours again, because it is. This is your time. This is your turn, not to fill your days with more, but to fill them with meaning, to rise above the noise, to move with discipline, to protect your energy like your legacy depends on it, because it does. You don't need more time. You need command of it. And that starts the moment you decide that nothing is more important than becoming who you were always meant to be. Let every hour reflect that decision. Let every no be a declaration of what you truly value. Let every minute become a brick in the foundation of a life you'll be proud to live. You are not running out of time. You are stepping into it fully, finally, powerfully. When you begin to command your time, something remarkable happens. You stop fearing pressure. You stop running from challenge, because you realize that every difficult moment is not a sign to retreat, but a signal to rise. Growth doesn't come from ease. It's born in discomfort. And the woman who chooses to stay uncomfortable on purpose becomes unshakable. We are wired to seek safety, to find the path of least resistance. But comfort is a trap dressed as peace. It promises rest but delivers regret. Because comfort zones don't keep you safe, they keep you small, they rob you of evolution, they lull you into stillness while your potential waits just beyond the edge of your excuses. There's a voice inside that says, this is too hard, you're not ready, stay where it's familiar. But here's the truth: if you only move when it's easy, you'll never move far. The life you crave, the clarity, the strength, the self-respect, it lives on the other side of resistance, and no one arrives there by accident. You earn it through repetition, through resilience, through the decision to lean into the very thing you once avoided. Discomfort is not your enemy, it's your greatest ally. Because every time you feel resistance and choose to step forward anyway, you expand. You create evidence that you can be afraid and still act, that you can be uncertain and still trust yourself. And that evidence becomes the foundation of confidence, not the fake kind that needs approval, but the real kind that's rooted in proof. Growth isn't supposed to feel good. It's supposed to break something. Old patterns, old stories, old limits. And when you allow that breaking to happen without running from it, you emerge stronger, sharper, more aligned. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start asking, what is this building in me? This is how powerful women are forged, not through ease, but through endurance. Not by staying comfortable, but by staying committed. They don't need every step to be perfect. They just need the courage to take the next one. But understand this, your mind will always try to protect you from discomfort. It will offer you the easy way out. It will whisper temptations wrapped in logic. You've done enough. You need rest. You don't want to push too hard. And yes, there is a time for rest. but there is also a time for fire, and you must know the difference. There's a version of you on the other side of the hard things you keep postponing. She is clear, she is disciplined, she doesn't flinch at pressure, she rises through it, and you don't meet her by waiting. You meet her by walking straight into what challenges you most, that hard conversation, that early wake up, that routine that feels impossible, that habit you failed at before. All of it is part of the path, not obstacles to avoid, but invitations to grow. Most people confuse struggle with failure, but struggle means you're in motion. Struggle means you're changing. And change, real lasting change, requires resistance. It requires you to show up on the days you feel tired, on the days you feel unsure, on the days when everything in you wants to quit. That is where your power is tested, and that is where it is revealed. Every uncomfortable moment is shaping you, sharpening you, preparing you. And while others run from the pressure, you are here to hold it. Not because it's easy, but because your purpose is bigger than your comfort. You're not here to escape challenge. You're here to expand through it. And the more you lean into that truth, the more fearless you become. Not because fear disappears, but because it no longer controls your choices. This is where transformation begins. Not in motivation, but in movement. Not in waiting for the right feeling, but in choosing the right action. Over and over again. Until discomfort becomes familiar. Until challenge becomes opportunity. Until the woman you once dreamed of becoming becomes the woman you now are. This is your edge. The place most people stop. The place most turn back. But not you. You've come too far to return to comfort. You've seen too much to pretend you don't know what you're capable of. And now you rise into the fire, into the pressure, into the discomfort that forges diamonds. Because the woman who chooses growth over ease becomes a force the world cannot ignore. When you choose to lean into discomfort, you no longer wait for life to shape you. You shape yourself. You become deliberate, strategic, focused. You begin to realize that success is never an accident. It's the result of choosing alignment over impulse, clarity over chaos, preparation over panic. And that's why powerful women don't just move with purpose. They plan with precision. You don't build a strong life by chance. You build it by design. And that design begins the night before the distractions start, before the world interferes. While others are collapsing into their beds, overwhelmed and unfocused, you are setting the tone for tomorrow. Because how you end one day determines how you begin the next. Planning your day isn't a chore, it's an act of self-respect. It's saying, my life matters enough for me to decide how I want to live it. When you sit down, even for 5 minutes, and ask yourself what matters most tomorrow, you stop living in reaction and start living in creation. Most people wake up already behind, already pulled into urgency, already buried under pressure, not because they don't have enough time, but because they never claimed it. They never told their day where to go. So the day pulls them in every direction, and they call it busy. But busy is not the same as productive. Motion is not the same as progress. And the woman who knows where she's going doesn't chase everything. She chooses what matters. This is how you become dangerous to distraction. You don't wait to decide. You pre-decide. You don't leave your priorities to chance. You define them. You write them down. You protect them like they're sacred, because they are. Your dreams require structure. Your goals require order. And your energy requires a clear path. Without it, even the most ambitious mind will burn out, because willpower fades, motivation fades, but systems sustain. When you plan your day the night before, you are stacking the deck in your favor. You're lowering resistance. You're eliminating decision fatigue. You're waking up with clarity instead of chaos. And that clarity is a weapon in a world full of noise. This is not about being rigid, it's about being ready. It's about stepping into your day with intention, not hesitation. Knowing what matters, knowing where to focus, knowing what to let go of. Because overwhelm doesn't come from having too much to do. It comes from not knowing where to start. But you do. You've already decided. You've already created space for what's essential. You've already built momentum before the day even begins. And that kind of preparation changes how you carry yourself. You move with certainty. You stop being tossed by other people's emergencies. You stop negotiating with procrastination. You stop handing your power to things that don't deserve your attention. Instead, you own your time. You lead your schedule. You stay loyal to your priorities. And that loyalty pays off, not in the rush of checking boxes, but in the peace that comes from knowing you showed up for yourself. That's the real win. Not perfection, but alignment. Not doing more, but doing what matters most. And when you make that your standard, you become consistent. You become efficient. You become unshakable. Because there's nothing more powerful than a woman who knows exactly what she's here to do and refuses to waste her energy on anything less. Let others chase urgency. Let others drift through their days hoping they'll feel inspired. You don't need hope. You have a plan. You've chosen your direction, and you're walking it, intentionally, powerfully, relentlessly. This is how empires are built. This is how peace is created. This is how you stop living in chaos and start living in clarity. Every night you write the blueprint for your next level, not because you're obsessed with control, but because you're done living by default. You're done letting life happen to you. You're here to create it on purpose, with focus, with fire. And when you stack those days, day after day, week after week, something shifts. Your goals become inevitable, your confidence compounds, and suddenly you're no longer trying to become the woman you want to be. You are her. It doesn't take hours. It doesn't take perfection. It takes commitment. A few quiet minutes at the end of your day to say, I'm not drifting anymore. I'm designing. And from that design, your discipline grows. That's how you win. Quietly, consistently, intentionally, not by chance, but by choice, night by night, decision by decision, until your life reflects the standard you refuse to lower. Success starts the night before, but it's cemented in how you begin each morning. The first hour of your day holds more power than most realize. It's not just a routine, it's a ritual, a declaration that you are choosing to lead, not follow, a signal to your mind and body that you're not reacting to life, you're commanding it. When you wake up and immediately give your energy to the world, your phone, your notifications, your to-do list, you start the day behind. You let the outside dictate your inner state. But when you begin your morning by owning your attention, you take back control. You create a foundation of strength, clarity, and discipline that carries through every decision you make. A powerful morning doesn't require perfection. It requires presence. It requires a commitment to reconnecting with yourself before the world pulls you in 1,000 directions. It's a moment to get quiet, to get focused, or to remember who you are and what you're building. Because you can't build a powerful life from a place of chaos. You need clarity. And clarity is born in silence. It's born in stillness. In the moments where you check in with your values instead of your inbox, where you affirm your direction instead of absorbing distraction. That's what the most grounded women do. They don't just wake up and go. They wake up and align. They don't race into the day with anxiety. They step into it with authority. Because they've trained their minds to lead their lives, not chase it. And when you begin your day with that level of intention, everything shifts. You make stronger decisions. You move with more grace. You bounce back from setbacks faster. Because you've anchored yourself in something deeper than pressure. You've anchored yourself in purpose. Even 5 minutes of stillness can change everything. 5 minutes of gratitude. 5 minutes of intention setting. 5 minutes of breathing, visualizing, or speaking life over yourself. It's not about how long you spend, it's about the energy you activate. Energy is everything. You either create it on purpose or you absorb it by default. And when you don't take time in the morning to create strong energy, you spend the rest of your day trying to fix what you could have prevented. The way you start your morning becomes the filter through which you view the world. If you begin rushed, reactive, and overwhelmed, then every challenge feels heavier. But if you begin rooted, focused, and grounded, then those same challenges become opportunities to rise. This is where personal power is developed, in the quiet, unseen, often underestimated moments that most people skip. And what most skip, you commit to, because you know your habits are shaping your identity. Every choice you make is a vote for the woman you're becoming. You're not just setting intentions, you're training your brain. You're reinforcing to your subconscious that you are in control, that you don't need to wait for motivation. You create it every single morning. It doesn't matter how many times you've fallen off track. What matters is how many times you decide to get back on. Every morning gives you a new chance to lead your life, to build momentum, to set the tone before the world has a chance to sway you. And the more you repeat this, the more resilient you become. You stop waiting for the perfect day. You stop hoping for motivation to strike, because you've built something stronger, disciplined, backed by vision. Most people sleepwalk through their mornings. They snooze, scroll, and scramble. They let their energy be hijacked before the day even begins. but you've chosen a different path. You've chosen to wake up with intention, to start with strength, to honor the time that most people waste. That choice separates average from exceptional. It separates the distracted from the driven. Because what you do in the first hour of your day sets the tone for every hour that follows. Own your morning, and you shift everything. You shift how you think, how you show up, how you respond to pressure, how you move through resistance. You shift from surviving to leading, from chasing time to commanding it. It's not about waking up at a certain time. It's about how you wake up, with purpose, with clarity, with presence. That's what transforms a routine into a ritual. And that ritual becomes a non-negotiable part of your success. No one is coming to do it for you. No one can wire your mind for strength, for focus, for power. That is your job. And every morning you rise, you get to do that work. You get to decide, will I start this day by default or by design? The answer is in your hands. And when you choose design, you're not just shaping your day, you're shaping your future, one morning at a time, one choice at a time, until the woman you once imagined is the woman who wakes up every day ready. There is a force inside you waiting to be unleashed, one that grows stronger every time you choose to honor yourself with care. This force isn't selfishness disguised as indulgence. It's the foundation of your power. When you invest in yourself, you invest in your ability to show up fully for every aspect of your life. Without this, motivation fades, energy dips, and even the strongest intentions lose their edge. Self-care is not a luxury, it's a necessity. It is the silent guardian that protects your mental clarity, emotional balance, and physical strength. Without it, exhaustion creeps in, decisions become clouded, and your resolve weakens. But with it, you build resilience that no obstacle can break. Taking care of yourself means listening to your body and mind as if your life depends on it, because it does. It means recognizing that rest isn't weakness, but a strategic reset. That nourishment isn't just food, but fuel for your fire. That boundaries aren't walls, but gates you control to preserve your peace. Many women feel guilty for prioritizing themselves. They believe they must always give, always sacrifice, always put others first. But this mindset is a trap, because the woman who runs herself dry cannot pour into anything or anyone. She becomes brittle, overwhelmed, and disconnected from her true potential. True strength is knowing when to pause. It's the courage to say no to what drains you so you can say yes to what elevates you. It's honoring your limits while pushing your boundaries. It's choosing quality over quantity, not just in your actions, but in your energy. Self-care is not about avoiding responsibility. It's about sharpening your capacity to carry it. When you rest well, you think clearer. When you nourish well, you perform better. When you protect your emotional space, you connect deeper. This isn't selfish, it's smart. Imagine your body and mind as a sacred vessel. How you treat it dictates how much you can carry without breaking. Neglecting self-care is like filling a cup with a crack. It spills, it leaks, it wastes. But filling your cup consistently, intentionally, allows you to overflow into every role you play with authenticity and strength. And self-care isn't one size fits all. It's deeply personal. It could be a moment of quiet meditation, a walk in fresh air, a healthy meal prepared with intention, or simply saying no without explanation. It's whatever reconnects you to yourself and refuels your spirit. In a world that demands so much, self-care becomes your rebellion, your refusal to be depleted, your declaration that you matter. It's the secret weapon of women who refuse to settle for burnout and instead choose to thrive. This isn't about fleeting comfort or escape. It's about cultivating a sustainable life force. Because motivation is temporary, but vitality is lasting. And vitality comes from honoring the whole you, mind, body, and soul. When you make self-care a daily habit, you build a fortress around your dreams. You create a life where stress doesn't consume you, where overwhelm doesn't paralyze you, and where you can keep moving forward with steady strength. So, look at how you treat yourself right now. Are you nourishing your potential, or are you draining it? Are you giving yourself permission to rest, recover, and rejuvenate? Or are you pushing through, hoping to power past the fatigue? The women who achieve extraordinary things are not superheroes without limits. They are humans who have mastered the art of replenishment. They understand that their energy is their most valuable asset, and they guard it fiercely. This is the quiet power behind every achievement, the invisible muscle that strengthens resolve. The difference between burning out and burning bright. You deserve this care. You need this care. It is not a reward. It is a requirement. And when you honor this truth, you unlock a level of performance and presence that fuels every other habit you want to master. This is the moment to break the cycle of neglect, to replace guilt with grace, to choose self-care as a radical act of love for yourself and for everything you are building. Because the woman who masters self-care doesn't just survive, she thrives. She radiates strength that others feel but can't explain. She carries her light even when the world tries to dim it. And she moves through life with the unstoppable energy of someone who knows her worth. Make no mistake, this is not indulgence. This is power. This is wisdom. This is the foundation upon which you build everything else. Take this habit seriously, protect it fiercely, and watch how your life transforms when you finally become your own greatest priority. Discipline is the bridge between your dreams and reality, but it's not born from harshness or punishment. True discipline grows from respect for yourself, your time, and your vision. It is a quiet power that whispers, "I will show up no matter what," even when the world feels heavy and your motivation fades. This kind of discipline is not about rigidity, it's about freedom. The freedom that comes when you take control of your actions instead of letting them control you. Every day you face choices that test your commitment. Will you give in to distraction or focus on what matters? Will you settle for comfort or push through discomfort? Will you let excuses win or will you rise above them? The women who succeed are not those who never stumble, but those who refuse to let their stumbles define them. They embody resilience, because discipline is the muscle they've trained over time. Discipline is not a switch you flip, it's a habit you build. It's waking up when your body begs for one more hour of sleep because you promised yourself progress. It's showing up to your goals even when the initial excitement has worn off. It's doing the work that no one sees, the early mornings, the late nights, the moments of quiet consistency that others mistake for routine. When you cultivate discipline, you reclaim your power from the chaos of life. You build a fortress around your focus. And with that focus comes momentum, a force so strong that even setbacks become setups for greater growth. It's important to remember that discipline isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about choosing to get back on track every time you stray. The most successful women don't expect flawless execution. They expect commitment to keep moving forward no matter how small the step. Your discipline reflects your values. When you decide to prioritize your habits, you declare what matters most. You send a message to yourself that your goals are worth the effort. This internal alignment creates a powerful feedback loop. The more you honor your commitments, the more confidence you build. The more confidence you build, the easier it becomes to keep going. And discipline is contagious. When you maintain high standards for yourself, you influence everyone around you. You become a beacon of strength and reliability, inspiring others to raise their own bars. This ripple effect magnifies your impact far beyond what you imagine. But the greatest reward of discipline is freedom, the freedom to live life on your terms. When you master your habits, you're no longer a slave to procrastination, doubt, or fear. You become the architect of your destiny. You move with intention and clarity, cutting through noise and distraction with precision. Discipline also protects you from the seductive trap of instant gratification. The world is designed to keep you chasing quick fixes, likes, distractions, temporary pleasures that steal your focus and drain your energy. But discipline trains your mind to look beyond the immediate. It teaches you to invest in the future you truly desire, not just the fleeting comforts of the present. Think of discipline as the quiet engine fueling your climb to greatness. It doesn't demand applause. It doesn't seek validation. It simply works, day after day, building strength and resilience beneath the surface. And when you embrace this truth, you tap into a power that no external force can take away. Every choice you make, every action you take is a brick in the foundation of the woman you're becoming. With discipline, those bricks are laid strong and steady, forming a structure that can weather storms and rise even higher. So commit to your discipline fiercely. Protect it from distraction. Celebrate your small wins and learn from your setbacks. Because with discipline, you don't just dream, you do. You don't just wish, you act. And that's how you create a life that reflects the fierce, unstoppable woman inside you. Your habits are your legacy. Let discipline be the cornerstone of yours. Focus is the currency of achievement, yet it slips through most hands like sand. In a world buzzing with distractions, mastering your focus is the greatest gift you can give yourself. It is not simply about doing more, it's about doing what matters, deeply and deliberately. Without focus, even the best intentions scatter, becoming fragmented efforts that yield little progress. But when you harness your focus, you command your energy, directing it toward what truly fuels your growth. Focus is not a natural state, it's a cultivated skill. It requires guarding your attention as fiercely as you guard your dreams. Every notification ignored, every unnecessary distraction avoided, every moment spent fully present adds layers to your power. This is how you transform scattered energy into unstoppable force. The mind craves stimulation, but not all stimulation serves your purpose. It is easy to fall prey to the illusion that being busy equals being productive. But busyness without focus is chaos disguised as effort. True progress happens in the space where intention meets undivided attention. When you work on your goals with a laser-sharp focus, distractions fade and clarity sharpens. Imagine what your days would look like if you trained yourself to enter that focused state at will. Imagine cutting through overwhelm because your mind knows exactly where to land. Imagine feeling the satisfaction of deep work, where your efforts compound, building momentum that propels you forward. Focus is a discipline of presence. It is the refusal to let your mind wander into worry, regret, or endless planning. Instead, it anchors itself in the present moment, in the task at hand. This is where transformation begins, not in scattered multitasking, but in singular, intentional action. Every great woman knows this secret. They protect their focus as sacred because they understand that distraction is the enemy of greatness. They do not allow the noise of the world to drown out their inner voice. Instead, they create space, both mental and physical, to nurture their concentration. Building this habit means saying no more often, saying no to the things that do not align with your priorities, to the urgent that tries to masquerade as important, to the endless calls for your time and energy that drain without return. Saying no is not weakness, it is strength. It is a boundary that protects your focus and honors your purpose. Focus also requires cultivating environments that support it. Clutter, noise, and chaos outside your mind reflect chaos within. Simplify your surroundings. Create routines and rituals that signal to your brain it's time to focus. Turn off notifications. Set clear intentions for your work. These small shifts create a powerful framework that invites your best self to show up. The rewards of mastering focus are profound. You will find yourself working less but accomplishing more. Your creativity will flourish because your mind is no longer scattered. Your confidence will grow as you consistently see the fruits of your dedicated effort. Focus is not about forcing your mind into submission. It's about guiding it gently back whenever it drifts. It's a practice of patience and persistence. Every time you catch yourself distracted and return to your task, you strengthen this muscle. Over time, what once felt difficult becomes natural. You are the steward of your attention. Where you place, it determines what you become. Will you scatter it among endless noise, or will you harness it with intention? The choice shapes your life's trajectory. Mastering focus is a radical act of self-respect. It declares that your time and energy are precious, that your goals deserve your full presence, that you are worthy of deep, meaningful progress. As you cultivate this habit, you will notice a profound shift, not just in your productivity, but in your peace of mind. Focus brings calm amidst chaos. It creates a rhythm where your efforts flow effortlessly. It reconnects you with the power of now. This power is within reach, waiting for your command. All it asks is your commitment to protect your attention, to nurture your presence, and to honor your highest priorities.